I won't
Take,
say anything this time.
take two. We're ready. Take two. Welcome back to the F3 Northeast Way podcast. This is take two of Q 3.7 Exhortation. Little jokes, little joking around. Thing was on a roll, giving us a master class, and I didn't hit record. So I hope that he can remember for you guys. This is Blake Anderson Money Pit. My guest this week, Ariel Rosario, Thingamabob, back on the podcast for episode number two.
Yeah.
First, real quick thing, I got to reiterate how grateful I was for our first episode, prayer. It's one of my favorite ones. You took us to a vulnerable place. You peeled back the curtain on your prayer life. You shared some really intimate stories about your dad, the role model, the leader that he was. Clearly, a big influence on your life, and undoubtedly, probably a good source of where this exhortation kind of superpower of yours comes from. And so we're in exhortation, and it's the fourth leadership skill that Dredd lays out in the book. And so he says that a leader's got to be able to have vision, a leader's got to be able to articulate that vision, a leader's got to be able to persuade others to join the vision, but you can't stop there. A leader's got to be able to exhort and keep that team together and help them get through the obstacles that they will encounter on their way to the finish line. And anybody knows you well knows that you are an exhorter. You exhort me, you exhort anyone that you work out with, and you've been such a positive influence in my life, not just through a random encouragement, but through just your presence in my life. And so I thought it was great to get you back on, and you were willing to come on. So thanks for coming back on the podcast for this episode.
Yeah, my pleasure. I feel the same. I like every time I come here, I like talking to people, I like chatting it up. So anytime I get a chance to listen to another man and talk to him, it's a blessing.
Mm. Well, that's good. Well,
Yeah, by the way, this is a perfect example of, hey, let's get we can do this, right? We can do
yeah,
this. Even on take two, we can get this done. We can get
yeah,
this done.
right. Yeah, and it'll probably be better. So, let me launch this conversation with the first Socratic. And I don't feel the need to reteach the content, though I really am a believer in Dred's methodology. So there's sometimes that some Socratics are just the perfect start, and this is it. And the first Socratic, if you're in your book, it says, "Is there a difference between exhortation and encouragement?" So I'd love to just get your kind of thoughts and opinions as a natural exhorter on what you think about exhortation and versus encouragement, and help us really understand that as a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. We're where he calls it encouragement on steroids, right?
Mm,
I mean, I believe that there's so much more than just a simple, text of just cheering somebody on, like he says, or just a text, hey, yeah, we can do this. It's all the empathy that's been built across, with that relationship, right? You
okay.
typically have been together with a group or a team or a partner for a while, and you know that person, right? And you both or all the team knows the mission, right? Knows what the vision
Mm,
is. It's been articulated, right? We've bought into it, right?
mhm.
But the obstacles are still there. So it's important for the leader to know, right? Hey, this guy's struggling with something. How do we get him
Yeah.
across? How do we get him across the line? And that's where that empathy comes.
So I guess what you're saying is anyone can encourage, but exhortation is really the product of relationship. Is that a fair assessment?
Right relationship, the empathy side of things, right? So there's a thing in the saying. I always heard it in the army. I'm sure it's a credit to somebody. Mission first, people always.
Mm,
So
okay.
in that context, it's
Mm,
we always had to complete the mission, right? It was always important to know the mission two levels above, so that the when the shit hit the fan, for the
mhm,
lack of a better term, you always knew what the mission was, right? However,
mm.
that mission never happens without the people,
Wow.
right? So you always got to be thinking about
Mm,
that, the people aspect of it, because when somebody's not right, they're not going to be right for the mission, right? When somebody's not thinking clearly,
mm.
and they're not going to be able to react as well when, that punch comes and hits you in the face, right?
Yeah, I love that. I don't think I've ever heard that. I think oftentimes as leaders we feel this kind of pull against each other, mission or people, right? What do I put first? What is primary?
Mm.
And as a leader, sometimes we feel like, well, we've got to accomplish it, but then other times, we have a heart for the people that we love or know. And I love that mission first, but people always. And I think what a good holistic way to think about it, really, because maybe you can accomplish a small mission if someone gets taken out, but you're not going to accomplish big missions without the people around you. And so, in order to get everybody to this destination point, we've got to care for them all because we know we can't get there without them.
That's right. That's right. And it's really at all stages of the mission, right?
Hmm.
All stages, whether it's just in the planning phases of it, or in when you get to the execution part of it. And then when you get to even the after action review part of it, you still got to take care of the people at all times, right? So that's where if a lot of when something fails, it's because you have either forgotten one of these two, right?
Yeah.
And most likely, most times is the people.
Yeah.
So when so as long as everybody understands, you've already articulated your vision,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You've already persuaded. If you're at this stage, you've already persuaded your team or your unit, right? So it's that's where taking care of the people that are doing this. It's critical to always be at that.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and I was just talking about, I feel like in like the business world, there's all this impetus on the business plan, on the strategy, and all these things that you can control.
Hmm.
But the success really is in the hands of the team that you're put together, and you can't plan ahead to know who you'll hire, who will be there, but they will be the make or break on your vision. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when thinking about this, just staying with that mission first, people
Hmm.
always, right?
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
reason for that. I think the way I think about it. I don't know that it was explained to me like this, but in the business world, you have a mission, right? Uh,
Hmm.
you have a mission, and that's to whatever your mission statement is. But the instant is you have to make money, right? That's the whole
You
purpose of business,
have to.
to make money, right?
Yeah, you're out of business. Hmm.
But part of that making money is that you're paying the people that work.
Hmm. Right. That make the
You have
business
to make money
possible.
to be able to do that, right?
Hmm.
They make that possible. Um, so what we can't lose track of is our overarching mission for all of us, right? Love God and love people.
Yeah, right.
That's all
True.
throughout anything you do, right? So
Yes.
even though your mission for your business is this,
Hmm.
you make money in that way, you cannot lose the track of our main mission in life, which is, to love God and love the other.
Yeah, and I think the most successful businesses that we see are the ones that do that really well. I mean, I don't want to cast judgment on Jeff Bezos' spirituality, but I'll say this about Amazon. I don't know if I've ever known a company that loves their customers as much as Amazon does. The links in which they go to try to serve and please their customers is a standard that we've probably never seen before,
Mhm.
in the business world, and they're prospering out of this just desire to help others. So let me bring it back to this point in the book. And so kind of the major point that you've been kind of teasing, but I'd love to get you to bring it together and hopefully have a story for which I've heard you tell stories about this. I'll put you on the spot if I have to, which Dredd says empathy and correction are both necessary elements of exhortation. And so I think when we think exhortation, at least I do, I'm quick to just think encouragement, empathy, be nice to someone, cheer up their day, give them a hug, right? But I think Dredd is right in bringing those two together that you have to, as a good leader, exhortation sometimes involves correction. And I know that you have a very mature, nuanced, thoughtful approach to your exhortation when you balance empathy and correction.
Um, Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself too mature, to be honest with you. I still think
Yeah.
very, sometimes I see myself, think of myself as a teenager, but
Okay.
no, yeah, but the only way we can do that, right?
Yeah.
It provides some meaningful encouragement on steroids, that exhortation, and correct it when necessary at the same time.
Yeah.
It's really when we build that relationship with the
Yeah.
recipient,
Yeah.
right? And you know them, you
Right.
know what they're going through, you know what their struggles are at times. You may not know them completely well, right? But at least it shows, when you show that you care about them
Yeah.
first, right? And
Yep.
and if we've articulated that, hey, we are going to work mission first, people always, right? It's
Hmm.
it's not it really is not too difficult. I remember, we had the same conversation when I was a first sergeant in an infantry company
Hmm.
in Jacksonville. So one of the soldiers decided to show up, and he had been drinking, right? So and I knew that he had been struggling with some alcohol issues for a little
Hmm.
bit, right? And had been making some headway and all that. So when we detected the smell, because you can't miss it, right? One of the things about correction is that nobody likes to be humiliated, period.
Yes, that's
You
good.
know?
Yes.
So even in the military setting,
Yeah.
humiliation doesn't
Doesn't
really
work.
get you many places.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's one of those. What's one of those?
Humiliation will likely drive someone away rather than pull them to you, right?
Sure, absolutely, or even drive them deeper into what they're struggling with.
Oh, yeah.
You
Even,
know,
yeah.
that's the
Hmm.
biggest part. Whether if they decide to go away, I don't want them to go away to go deeper into whatever it is they're struggling with, right?
Right. Hmm.
So that's one of those instances where we're like, hey, come on, let's go have a chat, right? And then that's when you could see, because you can do those things and make it forceful enough, but loving enough so that it's not quite so embarrassing, and it gets the point across, not just to him, but to everyone else too that's
Yeah.
involved. So
Right.
that's one of those places where you go across the drill hall where all the soldiers are standing, and and they see him following you to where you're gonna take them, and then you close the door behind you,
Hmm.
and that's when you start, incorporating a light coat of sweat of exercise and different things to to, to correct the situation, right?
Okay.
So we were in that room by ourselves. We exercise and talk and exercise and talk some more and exercise until we got a nice light coat of sweat and some of that alcohol out of the way,
Is that right?
right? But then,
Okay.
but then when we came out, you know, we were about to actually go into like our 2 week, I think it was a 2 week AT or annual training stuff, and he ended up getting like the it used to be the Wolverines, like the Wolverine of the like we I used to give a mug that said first place effort award. It was always, I always asked him to do a first place effort. You can come in last, you can come in second. If you give me a
Right.
first place effort, I'm good. So we used to give him a mug. Anyway, he ended up getting that first place effort mug that AT.
Wow.
And he started by showing up drunk. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I don't know. I like to think that's a story of the kind of
absolutely.
exhortation that is enough. When we deal with stuff, whether it's drinking or
Yeah.
whatever sin it is, we need that encouragement. You
Okay,
know.
I can imagine this going a different way, right? So you're the leader, it's your job to correct it. Okay.
Hmm.
And had you corrected it through humiliation, I can imagine even if he wasn't able to drink during the AT, him getting pissed off and resisting your lead for the whole exercise, rather than you through empathy gave him room to come back in the right way,
For
and
correction,
and
right?
through for correction, and through that grace was empowered to step into another level of himself.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole purpose of the correction that comes with
Yeah.
exhortation.
Okay.
The whole purpose is to move forward,
Oh,
not to shame someone, right?
yeah.
Not to shame
Right.
somebody. I think the way I think about it, that's the whole purpose it's correction because for the love of the other, period.
Yeah.
so that hey, look, I know you can get across this. I know you're struggling with this alcohol thing, you know. I still need you,
Hmm.
and I know you can do it. But let's get this stuff out of your system because I think next time you're gonna think about twice. You're gonna think about a couple times before coming into and showing up, with alcohol in your system, you
I
know?
love what you just said. You know what? As leaders, oftentimes I think some of us, and I'm one of these people, might shy away from correction for a little while. It's not comfortable. The pat on the back, the high fives are easier for me than the correction. But I love what you just said, and I hope the packs, I want them to catch this. The correction is to help them move forward. It's not just you have to do your job and you have to tell someone they were wrong and you have to make an example for them. All that might be true. But if you do correction right, you're not just doing your job and checking the boxes, you're actually you're helping this person go to another level that they couldn't have gone to without you taking the time to do correction, especially when you do it the right way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll tell you part of my own story, as when I was active duty, we were going through stuff in our marriage, like my wife was having complications with our second child,
Mhm.
right? At that point, I was in a unit, and I was active duty then, in a unit that was strictly volunteer. It was a long range surveillance unit. I was a team leader. I was gone all the time. My bride was pregnant, and
Mhm.
for and I would be gone from Monday to Friday in the field, come home for the weekend sometimes, and then go back. And 3 times in a row, I had to go to the hospital because she had complications. Anyway, I decided to make a decision to get out of active duty,
Okay.
and it was that happened a year later, but to get out of active duty, and because it was a volunteer unit, I told the commander and my first son at that point. He just looked at me. He's like, I get it. I understand, you're putting your family first. Um, but the next month was total hell, right? So it's like, when you quit something in the military, so I got every crap duty to do, for the next month. But and the other thing, he's like, look, I just want to tell you one thing. This is probably the first time you quit, and because you just quit, it's going to be easier the next time. So think about that, right? So I
Mm.
learned that,
Mm.
when I feel like giving up, it's like don't. And then the second part I learned out of that whole lesson is that empathy, that love and kindness, right? Because
Hmm.
at the same time, while he gave me all that duty to do because of that, he did find me a job at
Oh, really?
in the in the in the administrative side of things
Hmm.
at the headquarters so that I can prepare to get out of the military, so that I can go to school, so that I can do all those things, and to be with my wife at the same time.
Mm.
So that some of the things I learned from that leader were those things, right? Hey,
Hmm.
you had to be tough in your whatever the punishment is, if you want to call it punishment, but you had to be fair and loving in your response, right? And
Yeah.
I always appreciated that from
Yeah, right. A good leader showing you what good leaders do.
yeah.
Well, as we tie a bow on it, I've been so encouraged by your words because I think it'd be easy to see exhortations the final leadership skill, and I feel like society puts a lot of emphasis on vision and maybe persuasion, but just because it's the last one doesn't mean it's the least important. And I think Dredd even says this. It may be the last one of the four, but it's maybe the most important. I think as leaders, we can have a tendency to run towards the mission, to run towards the goal, to get out ahead of things, and not realize like you're not going to do this without these people, and the way you're going to get them to stay with you, to do more, to rally around the vision is going to be through your relationship, time invested in your people, and in the exhortation that comes of a product with it. And to things point, you're likely not going to be able to reach them in the way you need to without that time investment. It's not going to be encouragement, it's going to be exhortation that gets them to really stick with it long term in a sustained manner. So, really appreciate you sharing, taking this conversation to another level, enlightening us into the wisdom of your leadership.
Yeah, just one thing to make clear about this, like none of this stuff, and this was one of the earlier chapters. The leader cannot do this by himself.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's no leader out there that's going to have all
Yeah,
these four
that's
items.
right. It's a good
He's going to
point.
be able to, he's going to be able to give us the vision and articulate it well, and maybe even persuade, right? But when a leader finds that one leader that's not in a leadership position that's able to provide that exhortation for his vision,
Right.
hey, that's the beauty
Oh,
of
that's
what we call the SLT, right? So
yes. Man, that's so worth taking time to state that because we think about these skills and some of us don't major in all of them.
no,
And and
yeah,
then and maybe we won't, but we can through the SLT concept of inviting other people and sharing their responsibility and making room for someone who maybe has a skill that you don't. And it's not that you're lesser than or they're lesser than, is that the SLT concept helps us complete each other. And so if you don't have all four leadership skills yourself, you need to find a way to make sure they're all represented through the team, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it'll come. They'll come from the most random people, right? Dude, there's
Yeah.
a story about F3, right?
Yeah.
I was having my knee issues and stuff, my arthritis, and
Mm.
and I was finding myself more and more in the back, early on when I was a little, I don't know if I was ever faster than anyone, but when I was in the six,
Yeah.
somebody came back there, leaving no man behind, said, "Hey, you know what? Somebody sometimes just God wants you in the six. This is the way he wants," and that was enough exhortation for me,
Mm.
and it was good. It was good. It was good to receive that.
Mm.
So,
That's good. Well, this has been a rich conversation. I really appreciate you being willing to do that, Pax. I know that you got a lot out of this, and you can thank Thing when you see him next. And we will see you this week at the Q Source table.
all right. See you.